Give me a second, please. Okay. I think we are good. Wojciech. Can't pronounce your name, bro. Can you hear me? Ravi Char. Hey, Char, what's going on? Hey, I just want to know if you guys can hear me. Fire King, my boy. From Poland. Yeah, I know there's a delay. So as soon as somebody can let me know that you can hear me, I'll let you know why we're here. Yes. All right, good. Well, that's good to know. All right. Give me a second. So, a couple things happening this morning. I was just going to make a video, but I think this is easier, and I actually wouldn't mind taking a couple questions from you guys. So, a couple things happening this morning and over the last, I guess, day or so with Luna Classic, LUNC, and some of the developers, the devs, right? Let me see if I can adjust this camera a little better. Give me a second. This is very impromptu, like most of what I do. If I move that a little bit, yeah, it's a little better. All right. Anyway, okay. So, a proposal is on Agora, written by Alex. Alex has been on my chat, in my live chat a few times, and I'm not sure exactly what to make of this proposal yet. I have some questions about it that I've actually chatted with Alex about. Let me see if he got back to me. But I'm going to read this proposal to you, and then there was another article that was put out, and some tweets and stuff, and I kind of want to go over all that stuff and see where we are. All right, Alex hasn't gotten back to me, so I'm just going to go ahead with this, and at some point I'm hoping to have Alex and Ed on to maybe answer some questions and address some concerns regarding this this proposal. And the proposal is not on Terra Station. It's not up to vote yet. It's on Agora, which I've talked to you guys about before. Classic Agora. This is where most of these proposals get listed first, and then everybody can kind of talk about them. So let's go through this really quick. It's not that long, and surprisingly from Alex, it's actually really easy to understand. Let me just check out what you guys are talking about real quick. What up, Ryan? What up, Fire King? What up, Char? What up, everybody? Thanks, everybody, for being here. I know it's kind of impromptu, but all right, let's get through this. So, the proposal is to fund devs with 4 million of off-chain community assets. They found some assets that was actually, they were told about by Do Kwon, and they want to reallocate these assets to form this kind of team. Now, I'm going to skip through some of this and go to the background first so you understand what's going on, okay? All right, this is written by Alex, his perspective. On September 20th, 2022, Alex Forshaw initiated a conversation over Twitter Messenger with Do Kwon on a wide range of issues relevant to Terra Classic. Kwon and Forshaw had no prior contact. The conversation was possible only because they were both followed each other on Twitter. Okay. Forshaw raised the question of how known and unknown off-chain Terra Classic community assets, starting with the Luna Foundation Guard, LFG, could be utilized in a way that better benefited the Lunk community. Quan expressed skepticism that the present course of LFG asset disposition could be altered in any way. Quan added, quote, "I think the work you guys are doing is amazing for the community, and I hope you guys continue to fight the good fight." There were a lot of conversations going on with DK by some of these guys that we didn't even know about, that are kind of coming to light now. We're finding out about them now. Really, really cool. But this particular conversation kind of spurred what's going on now. So let's continue. Over the following weeks, amid other conversations, Quan expressed unconditional support. So the conversation had been going on for a while. Unconditional support for the Lunk community's efforts several more times, without ever exploring a quid pro quo or any other form of compensation for himself, TFL, or any other Quan-related party. For example, on August 13th, Quan said, quote, "Saw some chatter recently about wanting to move off TFL infrastructure. Let us know if and when you want to shut it down. Also, happy to keep going. Happy to do whatever's best." Forshaw said he felt that it would be best if TFL paid for infrastructure in the near term, and opined that the community had a time window of several months to get its act together, pay devs on a predictable basis, and find a way to turn LUNC's user momentum into something more durable. That's actually my first question, okay? He felt that it would be best for them to opine that the community had a time window of several months to get its act together and pay devs. So what was going to happen then? I don't want to call it a threat, but what was going to happen if the community didn't get themselves together and decide to pay devs? Was everybody just going to abandon ship? I don't want to think that's what he's suggesting here, but that's why I need clarification. I can't believe that was the case, not after coming this far. All right, where are you guys at? What up, Ryan? They should just ahead and give me the funds. That way they don't have to worry about doing anything with it. Yeah, me and you both. All right. On October 19th, Quan notified Forshaw of the existence of several community multi-sig wallets holding assets that rightfully belong to the Terra Classic community, which were clearly not part of the Luna Foundation Guard or TFL. Quan said that if the Terra Classic community passed a proposal to A, claim those wallets, assets for dev funding, B, nominate a new slate of multi-sig, excuse me a second. My dog making too much noise. Where was I? B, nominate a new slate of multi-sig owners chosen on the basis of prior proof of technical work in reviving Lunk and the mutual respect. And C, show how the funds would be used to fund LUNC developers working on the LUNC community's behalf. Quan believed that the current signers of those wallets would be willing to act according to the community's wishes and transfer the multi-sig's ownership to the new slate of Terra Classic community nominees. So basically we're setting the stage here that this proposal was initially thought of by Do Kwon himself. That's what it seems like is being said here. Forshaw began speaking with Zoni, at It's Always Zoni, who represented the prior multi-sig owners and began drafting up terms. Now, there are some things that are put out here, some conversations that are put out here that I hope were cleared with everyone before this thing was written, because it could put people in a precarious position. All right, let me go on. After looking up the wallets and finding assurance that the assets were legally untainted, Forshaw consulted Ed Kim about the idea, suggesting that Ed nominate 4 other dev/quants who Ed thought best so that the Terra Classic dev quant leadership could be commercially incentivized to work together as a team, build positive team momentum, and be able to hire meaningful outside help where needed. Ed agreed and suggested Anderson, who's Tobias Anderson, Zaradar, Forshaw, Bryan, and either Marventis, or if Marventis declined, Strathcole. There's a couple names in there I'm not familiar with because they're not Terra rebels. They're somebody else, okay? Forshaw readily agreed and next compared notes with Max Bryan, whose list was the same. Then with Anderson, whose list was also the same, but did not suggest Strathcole as an alternate. Anderson added that he felt no more than 2 members should be current Terra Rebel members, so that the Terra Rebels did not control the multi-sig. That piece right there makes me cringe a little bit, and I hope that Zaradar was well aware of putting that statement out before this was released, because to my knowledge, Zaradar still works very closely within the Terra Rebel group. And this almost feels to me like kind of trying to drive a wedge by saying that it was his idea, that he didn't want Terra Rebels to have control of any of this, and so no more than only 2 Terra Rebels, which would be Zaradar and Ed, should be involved in this. Again, I need clarification, because without talking to these guys, this is just my perspective on what I'm reading. What do you guys think? Where are we? Blah, blah, blah. Interesting that Dodo is so in contact like he's been here all along. How many managers does it take, though? Well, I don't know. According to this, about 9. We'll get into that. Okay, so Do Kwon, when asked for his opinion of an early draft of the proposal, replied, "No objections, just trying to be helpful. You'll have to talk to them," the 6 people who currently have these wallets, okay? "It's out of my hands." Kwon played no role in subsequent redrafts of the original proposal. Okay, just wanted to, I guess, get that out there. As the members of the slate had reviewed the document and came to mutual agreement on all items, the drafts were also shared with Zoni, who spoke on behalf of the multi-sig owners. Zoni only suggested that the token be held for yield instead of liquidated. In other words, stake the token for rewards, as the liquidation impact would be significant. There was no reason to liquidate a large percentage of the holding immediately, and the tokens possessed significant strategic value and yield potential. Okay, so that sets up where this all came from, okay? After this conversation with Do Kwon, they were made aware of this money, which you will see is somewhere around $4 million, a little more than $4 million, that basically has been sitting there in these wallets that the community didn't really have control over. Some other people control them, but they're hoping again that these are going to be released for this proposal, if this proposal is actually passed. All right, so let's get into the proposal. Again, thanks guys for being here. I don't think that there's a lot of people right now viewing, 22 people viewing. I mean, that's not a lot, but honestly, I didn't even know that I was going to do this live again. I thought I was just going to make a video. It just makes more sense to do it this way. So feel free with the feedback, and I'll get to the chat when I can. All right, let's get into this proposal real quick, because there are a couple other things I want to get to. We might be here for a while. If you guys can hang out, great. If you can share this, great. Make sure you like the video, okay? So maybe other people will see it and jump in. But if you got to take off and do stuff, I understand. Just come back and watch it later, all right? Okay, proposal summary. Number 1, reclaim possession of the Terra Classic Community Ethereum cross-chain multi-sig wallet, possessing roughly 4.16 million of non-Terra assets on behalf of the Terra Classic community. Use those assets to fund professionalized LUNC blockchain development with robust dev and community oversight. Okay. Replace the current owner slate with a new slate of 6 nominees, and that's what we talked about just now. Okay, hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. When my dog wants attention, she whines and whines, and it drives me crazy. I love her, but she's a nut. All right. So, replace the current slate with 6 nominees chosen on the basis of mutual respect and proof of work. Edward Kim, Tobias Anderson, Zaradar, Alex Forshaw, who wrote this, Maximilian, who also was a member of Terra Rebels. So, actually, that would be 3 Terra Rebels. Max, Zaradar, and Ed. Okay. Unless one of them is left that I'm unaware of, which would only be Max. Anyway, all right. Marius Burkard, who goes by Strathcole, not sure who he is, and Ian, who is a PFC validator, I guess. Again, not sure who he is either, but these are guys that they're aware of. Okay, immediately expand the multisig to include 3 additional members to strengthen independent oversight and community participation. Etienne, Coach Bruce from Lunkdow, and Jack Zampolin, a Cosmos OG and leader of the Akash network. We know, well, most of us know what Cosmos is. Akash network, I've never heard of. Maybe some of you guys have. The new multisig would be a 5 of 9 minimum of 5 yes votes required to authorize anything. So, all right, multisig. If you're not familiar with what they mean by multisig, it's multi-signature. So, in other words, there's something that needs to be voted on or something that they want to do, okay? If there's 9 of them, you need multi-signatures to pass it. And with this particular multi-sig structure, they're suggesting that a majority can pass something within the organization, okay? So if there's 9 of them, it takes 5 of them to sign off on something before they actually do it. My opinion on this, okay, and you can let me know what you think. My opinion on this is I would like that to be 2/3. Now, they can't do a unanimous thing. They can't do all 9 because, look at it this way, right? What if there's a bad actor, right? If there's one particular one in there that maybe is doing some underhanded stuff or whatever, right? The other ones can't vote him out if it's unanimous because he's not going to vote himself out, right? So you've got to be able to control the group. And so you need a majority. But I think 5, that means it was 4-4 with a tiebreaker. To me, that's still too close. I would like to see 6 out of the 9 have to sign on things. That would be a 2/3. That's just off the top of my head, my opinion. You guys, I saw an interview with Quan where he said that he was going to liquidate those assets to compensate USTC holders, mostly AVAX. This is interesting. I don't know if those are those the same assets, Ryan? Because he doesn't have control over those. Those are controlled by these other 6 signers, right? And what he was saying is that if they do something like this, those other 6 signers will turn over the keys. Unless he thought that they would turn over the keys to him, that doesn't seem to be what the conversation was that was had with Alex, according to Alex. And he's actually put in some quotes from Do Kwon. Such a bunch of money, Fire King. Such a bunch of money was found, and Kwon is saying that only 2 people from the rebels should be able to control those funds. No, he's not saying that only 2 people from the rebels. I think that was actually Zaradar's. Suggestion. He said that no more than 2 current Terra rebels should be on this team because, according to what Alex said, Zaradar said he didn't feel that the Terra rebels should have control over this. I don't, I'm just, don't kill the messenger. I'm just reading what's here, right? So that was what was said there. Sure, devs should be paid, but they definitely do not need a 10% skim in all transactions. Also, what are they paying themselves? That's from JB. JB, that sounds very much like what's going on with Twitter, and that sounds like a fat man talking point, right? Which, I don't have a position on, right? We're going to get into that, actually. Let me finish this, and we're going to go to those tweets and see what the opposition to this is, okay? And then, I would love to hear you guys' opinion on that, too. Okay. Immediately expand. All right, so adding on these other 3, so that makes 9 now, right? Each signer will be paid USD 5,000 per month, and this is what JB's just talking about. Each new signer obligations will include helping to create and iterate upon a 12-month community-driven LUNC development roadmap, soliciting bids from the community to execute pieces of said roadmap, evaluating the qualifications and track records of bidders, voting on finalists, and monitoring their work progress to completion. So, there's 9 of them, quick math, right? There's 9 of them, 5,000 a month, that's 45 grand a month, right? Times 12 months in a year, what is that, $540,000 or something like that, okay? It's a decent amount of money, but I guess it depends on your perspective. Some people think that that's way too much. Some people think that might not even be enough, okay? Again, we'll get into all that, all right? I'm reserving judgment. I don't really want to take a position on this yet because I haven't even internalized all this yet. I woke up this morning and found all this stuff, and I thought that I would just kind of chat with you guys about it, okay? Burn it for the community. All right, so clear 5. Clear failure of a signer to execute his duties will result in his being voted off the multisig and replaced with a new signer of the remaining signers and the community joint preference. Okay? All right. So proposal details basically just kind of outlines again what was there. Okay? Terra Classic community votes to reclaim possession of that money, basically. The 6 owners. It's just a recap kind of what we just talked about. What I like to get to, and I always find interesting, is results of voting. They always put these in these proposals, right? And they want to let you know what will happen if we vote yes, what will happen if we vote no. But you know that it's biased, right? And it's kind of funny the way they try to, everybody always tries to guilt you into the yes vote, right? So I just want to read this real quick and then we're going to move on. All right, yes. If you vote yes, this is the result. Delegate control of, this says 4.15 million. Earlier he said 4.16 million. I'm not sure that they accurately know exactly how much it is, so it's all approximated anyway. Of the community-owned Ethereum asset to add expanded 9-person multi-sig committee of Kim, Anderson, Forshaw, Brian, Strathcole, Etienne, Ian, Coach Bruce, and Jack Zampolin to manage on behalf of the Terra Classic community. This shows that the LUNC community accepts a need for the existing core dev/quant team to be paid for their work and trust their judgment to delegate work to other devs and community members who submit credible proposals to create additional proof of work for the LUNC community. Extract and burn all USTC as it becomes available in the Fuse and Aave lending pools. Okay? So, basically, voting yes says that you agree that all the work that they've done and all the work that they're doing for us, they should be paid for. But it also designates these specific guys to be in control of all that and to kind of make decisions as to what happens and what doesn't happen, okay? Now, an argument against this, and I'm sure JB is aware of, right, is that we already have governance, okay? As far as proposals are issued and the community votes on it, so the opposition to this is saying, well, what do we need to pay you guys to do what's already kind of in place for free, All right. Their argument is that, well, we're doing a lot more than that. I mean, and they try to outline here a lot other things that they plan on doing. But that they've said several times they can't continue to keep doing for free. They're working other jobs, some of them took a lot of time off to do everything that they've done so far. So, my feeling has always been from the beginning that they should be compensated for what they did. Is this the best method of doing it? And for these specific people, what about everybody else? I don't know. Okay, all these debates need to be had. All right, if you vote no, reject the proposed multi-sig ownership transfer to the new ownership slate. This shows that the lump community does not trust the proposed slate of 9 to manage community funds. Okay, when you throw names like Ed Kim and Zaradar out there, right? Even Alex to a degree, right? These guys are kind of revered, especially those two, especially Ed and Zaradar. They're kind of revered in the community. And so what he's saying here is that even though he said all 9 of them, basically what he said is that if you vote no, it says that you don't trust them, you don't trust these guys, right? Again, it's all in the wording. All right, so anyway, that's the proposal. This is probably going to be hitting Terra Station. I'm not sure when. Maybe sooner, maybe later. I don't know that Alex expected the opposition that he's been getting. Okay, so maybe because of some of this opposition, maybe it will take a little longer, and maybe we'll have a little more discussion. But let's go to Twitter real quick and go to Fat Man's post. Let me check in with you guys. Some of this mystery money should be used to buy Lunk and stop the monopolizing. Okay. Okay. Thank you for your clarifying. All right. A portion, Char again. A portion of them a portion for them, a portion for the community, because with all the other money, like the other 10 million donated, the 2% burn plus 10% for the devs. Okay. JB, the simple way is for them to disclose their full-time job roles and pay them equivalent to that. Maybe a little more, but nothing crazy. So what are you saying? That they should quit their jobs and then just pay them what they were getting paid? I mean, they don't want to do that, They want to keep their jobs and do this at the same time. So, I mean, it's a thought. All right, so anyway, this is what happened. Alex put up 22 hours ago, he posted on Twitter that this proposal was in Agora to be read, okay? Fat Man didn't like it, okay? And his response was 60,000 a year. So each one of 5,000, right, times 12. So each one of them would be getting 60K. Not a crazy amount of money in today's world, although there are some people who wish they were making 60,000 a year, right? 60,000 a year per signer, including yourself, for arranging proposals. That's 540,000 per year, amounting to a drain of over 10% of the available 4.2 million fund. Instead of putting each proposal to a vote via normal on-chain governance, masterfully executed cash grab, I must admit. So he's seeing it as a cash grab. He thinks that this 4.2 million that's there and that's available, they're draining 10% of it per year, okay? So if I remember from what we just read, Alex thought that Do Kwon suggested that the people who are actually holding this money right now and holding this, they have the control of these wallets, they're not going to release them for just anything. They would release them for this type of initiative, okay, is what Do Kwon said. And so this is the direction that Alex moved in. Talked with these other guys, and everybody kind of agreed on it. That's what I think I'm hearing. But again, I can't wait to get one or two of these guys on to clarify that for all of us, okay? That way they leave the current jobs and come on board full time. Yeah, I mean, I watch Shark Tank a lot. I don't know if you guys watch Shark Tank. And one of the things that they always tell the people that come on with these projects, right, is that are you still working? Because if you're working a full-time job, then you're not totally committed to this. And if you're not totally committed to this, I don't want to invest in you, right? So I understand that logic. But these guys keeping their jobs and their family and their relationships and everything else have done that and done everything that they've done so far to bring us this far. So they've been doing it. I guess they don't mind doing the work or the extra work. I think in some cases they actually enjoy it. I know Zaradar loves writing code, right? It's just that they want to get compensated for it too. So, I've got my daytime job, and I love my daytime job, but I'm also doing this on the side, right? I built it up to a point where now I'm monetized, right? And if I'm going to take some of my spare time and put together these videos and stuff for the community, which, yes, I enjoy doing, but at the same time, it does take up of my time. So if there's some little bit of compensation, I'm not going to say no to it. I appreciate it. So I kind of get both ways of looking at it. But, again, this is just off the cuff, my opinion. All right. So then Alex replied, "This is a 100% wrong take. I'll respond to it in detail in a couple of hours after dinner with my family." And Fat Man says, "I'm sure it's wrong since you're getting $60,000 a year to vote on proposals. I don't get it. Why form a paid centralized committee instead of sticking to the usual method of having proposals voted on by governance, deploying the ETH assets into Lunk Pool? Oh, right, money." Now, I don't follow a lot of what Fat Man says, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that there's not been any love lost between him and Alex in the past, okay? So is this a case of, if Alex said it, I automatically hate it? Or I'm going to try to cut it down? I don't know. I'm not saying that is. I'm just saying I wonder, if what kind of dynamics are actually playing into this, okay? And it goes on, and a lot of people, some people like it, some people don't like it, all right? So because of all the drama, Zaradar, who is notoriously silent on anything political or anything drama-wise, actually put out, just a matter of maybe a couple hours ago, a Medium article to address this, all right? And I want to go to that now, and here it is. So it's on Medium. You can read it for yourself. Tobias Anderson. It is "The Old Man in the Mountain" is what he titled it. All right. Before I get into it, let me check in with you guys. 60K is life-changing depending on your station in life. Absolutely, Fire King. I know a lot of people who aren't making anywhere close to that, okay, and trying to survive. So 60K, that's a whole different lifestyle for some people, absolutely. But we know that these guys in this field, that's almost chump change to some of them. What they get paid, and we can argue back and forth as to whether they deserve that kind of payment or not. Do ball players deserve the millions that they get? You can go back and forth with that. But the amount of money that they get paid to do this coding and to do the things that they do, that 60,000, that's, that could be a bonus for some of these guys. That's the level, right? The reason is, how much can a man work per day? I wouldn't want part-time coders coding half dead. That's where errors are made. Yeah, I agree with you, but then at the same time, like I say, they've brought us this far. They did everything that we needed done, and they got it done, and they're continuing to do it. So, some people are capable of more than others. All right, anyway. So this is Zaradar's reply to some of what he considers to be FUD, okay? Okay. There has been a lot of drama over the past few days related to a proposal put up on Agora, and that's the one we just looked at, authored by Alex and Ed, which seems to be taking us down yet another path of discourse largely based on subjective interpretation and FUD, born out of animosity for the people involved with the proposal itself, rather than logic and reason regarding what it represents. So his opinion is exactly what I just suggested might be going on. He thinks that it's exactly that. It's, there's just a hatred of these particular people that are involved in this proposal. And so, certain people are just going to give them shit about it. And that's the way it is, okay? Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. I really don't know. I don't know enough about the interpersonal relationships to comment on that. But that's clearly Zaradar's opinion, okay? To explain my point, we first need to reminisce for a bit and go back. This isn't a very long article, so just bear with me. Reminisce for a bit and go back to a meeting TR had over the summer with a group called TGG, where we talked with a number of community members, organizers, about the idea of establishing a working group that could collaborate on building a representative governance framework for the community to enable it to efficiently govern its interactions with external contractors and support the legislative process. Not unlike a Senate, which is an institution that we sorely need in order to be able to channel our energy as a digital nation and avoid the factional infighting that is bound to present in any large enough group of diverse, free-spirited, and open-minded individuals. Now, where's my phone? I had to ask Zaradar what TGG was because I was unaware of this. I didn't know who they were, and I want to tell you what he said about it. Let me see. Let me find it. Okay, I think it stood for Terra Governance Group. Okay, this was just some random group that popped up seemingly out of nowhere. It was some group of various people in the community who wanted to try to control TR at the time by enrolling us in a large bureaucracy. However, once I made it clear to them that I would not accept a system of self-elected senators long term, they seemed to just fade into another direction and nothing much came of it. Okay? So that was his explanation of who TGG was. All right. Now, while it might be true that I am stubborn enough to champion a proposal myself on this subject, my personal stance is to try to stay apolitical whenever possible and adopt the role as the old man on the mountain, while leaving the politicking to the frontline activists like Alex and Ed until such a time where my actions are required. Okay? Zaradar trying to enjoy his weekend. The guy's kind of a nut. I love Zaradar. I really do. I have nothing bad to say about him. He entertains me. I really do like him. All right. JB's going crazy over here. You got a lot to say. You might need your own stream, JB. The complaint of burnout would be massive, and also the mental health of... Well, all right. We're still on whether these guys can actually handle it or not. I'm going to leave it up to them whether they think they can handle it or not. And they did put something in place where if people weren't performing up to par, that, they could literally be voted out and replaced. So I personally don't. That's not a huge concern of mine. Local Ghost. If Alex is not a part of TR, why does he want to get reimbursed? I'm not sure what that question means. Why does he want to get reimbursed? I don't know that he's looking to get reimbursed for any work that he did previously. I think this is all about going forward, if I'm understanding your question correctly. Where else are we? Let's see. Char, 60,000 plus all the other money from our proposals. I feel like some zeros should be dropping. We are no longer progressing. Our numbers are dropping in volume. They also suggest a split. Yeah, this talk out there about a reverse split kind of thing. I don't know how much traction that's getting or how much sense it makes, but I know that there are talks about it. Yeah, and the price, is the price moving? No, the price isn't moving. We did some things, right? We went from 1.2% to 0.2% because we thought that it would increase the volume. As of yet, it has not done so, but many would argue we really haven't given it enough time. If you're in Matt's stream, you know that Matt never thought it was going to make a difference in the volume at all. I have my doubts about it. I think, and I hesitate to say this, but I feel like a lot of why we don't have a lot of volume right now is because of all this, right? It doesn't engender confidence in the community when we have so many different factions. And yes, I'm using the word factions. Many of the TR guys do not like when I use that word, but it's the word I'm choosing. There are so many factions working against each other. You got guys proposing something, and you got other guys who they used to work with saying basically that, no, that's not a great idea. And there's so much of that going on. At the very beginning, when the whole team was working on governance, we had so much more confidence in what was happening. But now that everyone is kind of migrating into their little corners of their own perspective and their own ideas, I think community confidence is dropping significantly, and I think it's being reflected in the volume. But that's just my speculation. All right. Personally, I would like yourself, Matt Perry, Claybro, Oscar Ramus to be overseers and connection to Lunk community. We trust yourselves for the betterment of Lunk moving forward. I'll tell you what, I can't speak for those other guys, but not a chance in hell. I don't want anything to do with any kind of control of anything, because with control of it, and I appreciate that, JB. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, I appreciate the vote of confidence. But as much as you might have that confidence and everyone else in my chat right now might have that confidence, there's always going to be those people, there's always going to be that fat man on the other side who is going to try to slash you down. And if anything goes wrong, the people in control open themselves up to lawsuits, no. Listen, we're YouTubers. What we do is for entertainment purposes only. We're not financial advisors. We do not give you financial advice. And we're just giving opinions. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. And I appreciate the vote of confidence, like I said, but hell no. All right, where was I? All right. I don't even remember how far I got because I got off on a tangent. Okay. All right. So fast forward to the present, and Alex has clawed back roughly 4.2 million USD worth of assets from Do Kwon based on months of investigative work and dialogue. Money he is now offering to put forth as a way to fund the creation of something akin to an interim governance structure or Senate until we can set up a proper system based on elected officials voted in via lunk holders using GUI, CLI. By all rights, this should be celebratory. This should be a celebratory event with us focusing on how these funds can be appropriated towards strengthening our governance layer, staffing it with people who were voted in by the community, and appropriate the funding towards essential maintenance, LCD, new features, version 21, version 25, and funding startups with strong business cases to utilize our network. Zaradar is the king of run-on sentences. I find myself taking several breaths before I get to the period. Anyway, so, I mean, that's his opinion on it. His opinion on it is that, everything is kind of legit here. We should be celebrating the fact that this is, and he looks at it as this is just an interim government, okay? Until we can find a better system with people who are totally voted in by the community, this at least gives everything some structure, okay? With people who are currently pretty much trusted by the community, and using that money to not only pay them, but to further some of this other development, okay? That's Zaradar's view on it. All right. However, due to the fact that we are still some way from this nirvana state, we seem more intent to focus on the fact that we don't like Alex and his controversial ideas and reject his interim Senate. Because we believe ideas must inherently be bad or evil, simply because they were a figment of Alex's imagination and subsequent hard work to secure the funds for us. I will say I kind of agree with that. I agree with that. Alex, because of some things that he's proposed, as far as like minting and all that stuff, has left a bad taste in some people's mouths, because even though what he's proposed, even if it made all the sense in the world, there were some buzzwords in there that people didn't want to hear, and if you were suggesting those words, you became enemy number one. Alex didn't intend that, but that's kind of the position he put himself in. So there are people who are going to see Alex attached to something, and I don't care if it's the best idea since sliced bread. If Alex put it out, oh no, it must be bad. We have to hate it, right? I agree with that. I think we should forget that maybe, he's a part of it and just look at the proposal itself, judge it on its merits. Oh, all right. Apparently Zaradar loves Star Wars. All right. This to me seems highly illogical, as Alex's work is a primary example of combining action and intent in order to strengthen the community. And while my sympathies go out to the people who feel left out, I think that once they do some soul searching on the subject and consider the facts logically, they will come to the same conclusions as me, which is that this is a net gain for all of us, seeing how the money is essentially an outside investment, and the interim senators proposed are probably diverse enough to prevent Alex from turning into a modern-day Palpatine and become more of a Master Windu. If you don't watch Star Wars, you have no idea what he's talking about. Palpatine was a master of the Dark Force, right? He was a villain, and Master Windu was the character played by Sam Jackson, right? And he was a Jedi, right? So classic good and evil, basically, is what he's saying. This is a very strong, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, he's coming out strong for Alex on this. And if you've followed a lot of what's been going on, they've been on opposite sides of some things, these guys, okay? They've had, and I say opposite sides, they've had different ideas on how to move forward. But being the fair guys that they are, they can agree to disagree and still work together and still appreciate each other's efforts, okay? So this is strong for Alex coming from Zaradar. And he's right, there's 9 of them, so no one person is going to be able to run away and do crazy stuff, right? Okay. However, given that none of us are real Jedis, and the community needs to be able to trust the interim senators and later elected officials put in place to manage the budget, gotta take a breath, we need to have an anti-corruption tax paid to the representative, as they will be morally liable for all investments they approve. They will be personally attacked every time someone doesn't like a particular piece of legislation, regardless of their involvement in creating it. Trust me, I know. And they will be expected to perform their duties while trying to withstand the temptation of favoritism for funding and being held accountable to the highest possible standards. Period. Wow, Zaradar. That's a long thought. An obligation that no human being can be expected to meet without being incentivized to do so. I get the point. Which means the 5K USD is not only fair, I suspect it's not adequate long term. Different sides of the coin. Some people are on different sides of the coin. When I scrolled through this the first time and I got to about here, I wondered if maybe he was pulling up a picture of me. But there's Sam Jackson. All right. So to conclude, This Saturday sojourn into Terra Classic governance, I fully endorse, that's the word I was looking for. I fully endorse Alex and Ed's proposal, and if a suitable key holder can be found to replace me, then that would be great. So he's doing this reluctantly, but the idea is they feel like before somebody else jumps in and does this, maybe a group of people who aren't as trustworthy, they feel like they just got to go ahead and do it. And that's where Zaradar is. He didn't really want to do this. He didn't want to have this position, but it's like, if I don't do it, who else is going to step in? It might be someone who doesn't think about things the right way, and then everybody's in trouble. So they're stepping up and doing what they think is best for the community, trying to keep everyone safe. And again, it's their perspective, and it's the perspective of a lot of people who are proponents of these guys. But like anything, you also have people who are opponents. So that's where we are on this. We're going to have to probably vote on it soon, so I just wanted to bring it up to you guys. That's it. So I'm gonna leave it at that. If you have any questions, leave them in the chat. I can always reach out to I've already talked to Alex and Zarada both this morning. They usually, as long as they're awake and not busy doing something, they get back to me really fast. So if you have questions that I don't have answers to, leave them in the comment section, and I'll try to get you answers. But I've got some questions of my own on this proposal. I would like them answered. I would like some of these opposing views spoken to by Alex and Ed. We've seen Zaradar's position on it, but I would like the other guys to talk on it too. So I'm hoping that maybe we can get them on sometime soon if schedules allow. Okay? All right. Thank you guys for tuning in and checking this out. Again, very impromptu, very sudden. But, I log on and I can always count on a few of you to jump right in here. So thank you to my mods. Thank you to JB. Thank you to Char. Thank you to everybody else who jumped in the chat and watched. This will be available for, it'll be recorded and available for anyone to come back and watch it again if they want. Hit the like button if you could for me on your way out. I suspect everyone that's in here right now is subscribed, but if you're watching this later, not live, and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. It would really be a huge help to me and to what we're trying to build here. So I appreciate you guys, and I am going to leave it at that. All right, y'all. Ciao. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Viking. I reached that. Ciao, Weeks. Peace. All right,